Hello. Now, a question I get asked quite regularly is where is the sweet spot to actually go and roll a particular instrument? To roll a symbol through history, has it changed? What are the differences between the financials and the energies in this respect, or the meat and the metals, and the list goes on. So I'm just going to show you here how easy it is to actually discover that and to see the differences between all the different sector groups. So to demonstrate this, we're going to choose the 10-year Treasury note, the all sessions, to have a look at, and you can see that in front of us here in the middle grid. And the middle grid here in Portara contains access to all CQG's Datafactory's actual data all the way back to inception on all the markets. This is on the daily section of that. The intraday is here, the 1 minute, but we're going to focus in on the daily to discover where the best place to roll is. And before we look at that, we're going to look here on TY, and you'll notice here this is the place that we're going to set our particular roll functionality. We're going to have a look in there, so we'll just go to roll templates and we shall select the 10-year Treasury notes, which is there, and you can see we're going to back adjust it, but the idea is where if we focus on how many days from expiry to select, what number do we put in here? This is what people are asking, do we roll 1 day before expiry, or what's the correct way, and how would we deal with that? So that's what we're going to look at. So we'll go to the middle grid and we select the little plus arrow, and this is going to show you all the actual contracts of CQG Datafactory going back to inception on this market, and we'll randomly scroll up till we get somewhere pretty recent. What that'll do is we'll go for the TYAA all sessions 2012 December contract, and if we right click there we can chart the actual daily data for that. That's opened off screen, so I'm just going to pull that on, so we can see there the data for 2012 December contract. If we focus down in the lower part of the chart, we can see the volume and open interest, and look what we see with our eye is that the open interest and the volume tend to fall off. There's a spike in volume, and then effectively it's nothing for a set period of time until the end of the contract. And we ask the question, why is that? Now this changes for every instrument. It has its own nuances, and across all sectors it's different too. Now in this particular case, the sort of sweet spot is somewhere here. It's no good rolling it down here because there's no liquidity later on, and for obvious reasons we don't want to be rolling down there. So how do we do this? There's a small feature in Portara. If we click on here, you'll notice that this opens at the top, and we're going to look here at this count section in a second. So we're going to go along to the last bar in the contract, and when the hand appears, if you click that, little indexer opens up at index 0, and as we pull across we can see the count change. So it's a simple matter of moving our cursor across and having a look at the comfy spot based on the 10-year notes here, and we can see there it's about 16 to 17 days. So what we need to see now is whether that's conducive over the lifetime of the contract in regards to other quarters and to other years. So let's do that. So we'll close this and we shall go back into our data, and we'll go forward, I think go to 2016 June, and we do the same thing again, and we pull in and we notice there that roughly it's about the same in number of days back. So the sweet spot again is in that area, 16 to 17, maybe 18, and we'll try one more area. We'll go back in time quite significantly, 1991 March, randomly chosen just to see where the focus is, and again we click in here and we run backwards, and we can see 16, we can see where the curve is. So we know during the life of the contract that 16 to 17 tends to be the sweet spot to choose for the rolling of this particular instrument. So it's now a matter to reopen our template for this particular symbol, 10 unity notes. Go in here, reopen it, and now if we set this to 17, this is going to roll 17 days before the end of the expiry date on each contract in the stream. So we'll save that. That should do us pretty good for our test, and we'll go TY and we'll just run it from 2015 for the speed. You can pull this all the way back to the 1980s obviously, but we're just going to roll the contracts here and let that run through, and when that completes we can look at the roll log and just check that those expiries is exactly what we require. I'm not going to spend time in there, and I'm going to close that and open up the compression manager and pull that on screen, and there is the TY symbol we've just created. Set up everything you need to set up. We'll keep it on what we've got here. This is just going to run off some 5-minute intraday bars based on exchange time, and it's going to read the data we've just created with the role manager there. So let's do that. Create streams, and we'll pull the folder up and look into TY005, which again is opened off screen, and there's all the data that we've just created there with our contracts in each side. And you can scroll down to where we've moved into the March contract, and it rolls lovely across from the 2016 Z to the H on the dates that we want to, which is about 17, I think we set it to, days from the expiry of 2016. Okay, so we'll close all this, move it out the way, close this, and we're just going to go back into the role manager, pull that on screen, and now we'll click onto the indices and we'll see what's in front of us. The DAX is as good as any, that one's straight in front of our eyes. So we open up DAX and we choose, again this is now looking at a different sector. We'll do indices and just choose any at random. We'll choose the September 2006, and this is how you do it, how you would choose a sweet spot for the DAX. And we notice on the indices that they are towards the end, so we can see straight away it's a no-brainer that 2 to 3 days before is going to be the place to roll, and you'll find that all through history. There are another couple of nuances in here. If we click on the metals, and again we choose something like copper, so we'll have copper combined. There's one that's in front of us. And the thing with copper, what you find with the metals is very similar to those financials that were, you know, large amount of days backwards. If we choose one in here, let's say the copper, that's as good as any, 2004N, and we chart that up off screen, just bear with me, we pull that in. What you find with the metals is that the huge amount of days before the contract goes on and on with hardly any liquidity in it at all. So the sweet spot for the metals tends to be much further back if you're on an expiry date mechanism. So you're looking more there. You can see up here, if you look, you know, you're about 28 days, 24 days is a comfy spot to do that. So it's up to you to go and explore and to figure out where those spots are, but hopefully this has been informative for a number of reasons for you to go and discover rolling places. Thank you very much.